Welcome to the What is Stoicism podcast.
When we know where we're trying to go in life, it becomes easier to find the roads that will take us there. A clear destination helps us choose between paths. It allows us to measure whether our daily steps are carrying us closer to where we want to be, or simply keeping us busy. It gives shape to our efforts and direction to our attention. Without that focus, Seneca warns, we're destined to drift. In On the Happy Life, he writes that as long as we wander aimlessly, with no guide and no clear standard of judgment, following only the noise of people calling us in different directions, our lives will be spent in error. And life, he reminds us, is short enough, even if we devote ourselves day and night to gaining sound understanding. It's a powerful image. A person on the road, surrounded by competing voices, each insisting on a different direction. Without a guide, without a destination, without the ability to judge the route for ourselves, we're easily carried along by whichever wind happens to be the strongest. If it's a happy life we want to reach, and if Stoicism is the road we choose to take, then we're not without guidance. The ancient philosophers who came before us knew the terrain. They had encountered steep climbs, rough ground, misleading shortcuts and unfavourable weather. They studied the route carefully and left us directions. Following those directions will not always take us along the roads most people are walking. Often philosophy leads us away from the well-trodden paths of popular opinion, social comparison, and inherited assumptions. But that's no bad thing. It's not our task to go where everyone else is going. It's our task to go where we ought to go. We don't need to imitate the crowd merely because it's large. Philosophy gives us the ability to think and navigate for ourselves. Seneca makes this point strongly. No one who goes astray, he says, harms only himself. He may also become the cause of someone else going astray. It's dangerous to attach ourselves unthinkingly to the people in front. If each of us prefers to trust someone else's judgment rather than exercise our own, then mistakes get passed from one person to another until they take us over and spin our ruin. This is why the road to a happy life requires more than motion. It requires judgment. And this is where Epictetus becomes especially useful. One of the most important things we learn from him is that the essence of goodness, and likewise badness, lies in our use of impressions. In clearer terms, genuine goodness comes from the good use of our will, sound reasoning applied to the things that are up to us, producing virtuous thoughts, intentions, and actions. External things, by contrast, are not truly good or bad in themselves. Death, pain, exile, reputation, wealth, status, and other people's opinions don't fully depend on us. They may be preferred or dispreferred, pleasant or unpleasant, but they don't determine the moral quality of our lives. What matters is how we judge and respond to them. Epictetus teaches that we should adopt an attitude of both caution and confidence, but we must apply each to the right place. Caution is required in relation to the things that depend on our will, because these are the things that can become genuinely good or bad. Our beliefs, choices, intentions, desires, aversions, actions, and character all require careful attention. This is where we can go wrong in the deepest sense. This is where we must be alert. Everything else can be approached with confidence, not because nothing painful will happen, and not because life will always go as we wish, but because these external things don't determine whether we are good or bad. They don't possess final authority over the state of our character. Problems arise when we reverse the categories. We become cautious of and fearful toward things that aren't subject to our will. We fear death, disfavour, hardship, pain, inconvenience, or loss. At the same time, we become careless or complacent toward the things that are subject to our will. Mistaken beliefs, thoughtless actions, disgraceful behaviour, and shameful cravings. In other words, we fear the weather, while ignoring the compass. We worry about what the road may bring while neglecting the quality of the person walking it. The mistaken distribution of attention creates much of our unnecessary turmoil. Applied to the wrong things, our natural confidence becomes rashness, recklessness, impulsiveness, or shamelessness. Our natural caution becomes cowardice, submissiveness, fear, and mental unrest. But if we apply caution to the sphere of the will, to the judgments, desires, and actions that are truly ours, we gain the power to avoid what is genuinely bad. We can reject false beliefs, resist destructive impulses, and refuse to act unjustly. We can become careful where carefulness matters. And if we apply confidence to the things outside our control, we stop granting them the power to terrify us. We remember that it's not death itself or pain itself or disfavor itself that frightens us, but the fear of these things. It's the judgment that they are terrible, unbearable, or morally destructive that unsettles us. A useful modern word for both caution and confidence might be attention. The simplest takeaway is this: if we want to prevent a great deal of unnecessary fear and turmoil, we should give much more attention to the things subject to our will, and much less to the things that are not. This brings us back to Seneca's road. If we wander through life without a guide, we'll be pulled in every direction by external noise. We'll fear what the crowd fears, desire what the crowd desires, and chase whatever destination has been chosen for us by someone else. We'll confuse motion with progress and popularity with truth. But if we know where we're going, and if we understand what's truly ours to govern, the road becomes clearer. The happy life isn't found by following the loudest voices. It's not found by fearing every obstacle or copying every traveller ahead of us. It's found by using our judgment well, directing our attention properly, and walking with purpose. So today, ask yourself, where am I trying to go? What road am I actually walking? Am I trusting my own reason, or merely following the noise? Am I giving my attention to what depends on me, or exhausting myself over what does not? The route may not always be easy. The weather may not always be favourable. But with philosophy as our guide, and the proper use of attention as our compass, we can keep moving in the right direction.